welcome everyone to joining us today. So we are here with the third round of the Super Wild Cup, and today we are at Monza. We will be starting the qualifying soon. I think all of our racers are ready. We have all the 14 drivers, and we can proceed with the qualifying now. To the viewers joining us today, let us know if there are any issues in the voice. We will try to get everything sorted, but let's just start with the quali.
So, good evening, Super Vedu. We are here for an enthralling round 3, and while qualifying gets started, which is just going to begin shortly, we are at the epic circuit called Monza, and we've gone live with qualifying. I'm just going to quickly get into spectate, and we're going to keep an eye, a close eye rather, on all the drivers today. So, Vedu, what is your expectation with this particular circuit, with the race conditions? What are the racers going to expect?
So, now we are in the third round today of our Super Wild Cup, and the qualifying is underway. It would be, I'm curious as well to see what happens today, because we have a high rate of tire wear, and the track conditions are supposed to be super dry. So let's see if the drivers can survive on their set of tires, and it would be interesting to see what strategies they go with to manage their tires.
Interesting, very interesting. So here we are with our last races winner, which is Dukhi Atma at this point, and we're going to keep a close eye on everyone. I think everyone's going to fight for track position. Wait to tell me something. Monza is always known for having its toe. It's such a crucial factor. I think people will be fighting for the toe. Do you think that is going to be an interesting factor for this particular race?
Absolutely. And what would be quite interesting is, since they are in teams and both the cars are Group 3 cars, so we could maybe see teams working together today. And so we need to see how it progresses during the race, but the slip can be an important factor throughout the qualifying and in the race as well, because it will be a rolling start today. We hope that the T1 will be clean, and then if the teams can manage to continue with that clean, then that will definitely help them a lot throughout the race.
Extremely interesting. I think rolling start is going to make all the difference today, and I really hope that our T1 is clean. And as I say that, Dukhi Atma begins his first set of flying laps. We're looking at an interesting 10 minutes of intense qualifying. I'm just going to quickly jump on his onboard. So let's be on third person camera here, and let's just keep a close eye as he goes to the first chicane, tries to keep it clean, slightly wide on the exit there, and as he's about to enter the second phase of the chicanes at this point. What would be an ideal time over here, Vedu, according to you?
So I would be expecting somewhere around 148 maybe. With the high tire wear, we can already see the softs are already burning out, so I would expect somewhere around 147, 148 maybe with low fuel. Whereas in comparison, if you remember, Monk, in Gran Turismo Sport for our last season, we were in 146.3s, 146.5s. So would be there would be some difference. I expect some difference, and let's see, maybe probably around 147.
147s it is. Let's have a look at what kind of a lap does Dukhi Atma put up as he leads the first set of our qualifying at this point. 147s, maybe a 146s. We've got some really fast drivers. We saw it in the last race that qualifying did have its impact, but overall in the race we did see a completely different grid. Now, will Monza produce something similar we will only find out in the next few minutes, as Duki Atma just exits Parabolica and is about to set up his first lap. I think his flyer looks good at this point. Is it going to be a 146? Maybe not. I think he is very much on the money. Puts in a 147.6. Where are the others? We've got Fun Anywhere. Puts in a 149. Very slow. Everyone else seems to be on a slightly slower lap. So I think that's a stonker of a lap. Mistogen with a 148. Pagal Raja almost a second behind at this point, Vedu. So what is going on? Has Duki Atma cracked it, or are the drivers just maybe struggling under dirty air?
It's too early. Maybe other guys made a mistake. I see Pagal Raj already going out on his second lap. But that was a clean lap by Duki, and he is into 147s. We still are supposed to see a lap. I see Ancient's lap also in 149s. So I think the times are coming down, and maybe in this next set of laps, I would expect everyone to be around 147, 148.
So while everyone scrambles for track position, let's quickly go through the grid. We've got Duki Atma in P1 with a stonker 147.6. Then we've got Pagal Raja almost a second behind. We've got Ganesh in P3, Mistogen in P4, Ench in P5, Askas in P6, Pleb in P7, Fun Anywhere in P8. So almost Vedu from 2nd to 7th are almost just separated by about say 4 or 5 tenths. Then we've got Fun Anywhere, who's about 4 tenths behind, followed by Brazilian Sam, Dan, Inavri, Sammy, Manu, and Modi Ki Guarantee, who is on a flyer at this point. So I think I want to just stay with Modi Guarantee because he is a man full of surprises as well as he exits Lesbo 2. What are your expectations from the Audi at this point? Do you think it's going to be a differential as compared to all the other cars?
It's too early to say anything. I need to see their sector times, and I think he's still on his out lap. But I would wait for him to set up a lap time yet.
So as we look at the mini map at this point, we do see a lot of action. So as Modi Guarantee just has a moment on his out lap, and the first set of pit stops are also coming in. So definitely some strategy coming into play at this point. So let's just look at what the others are doing. Duki Atma has just sort of cleared his penalty, and he looks like he's on another flyer. Let's look at what his sector 1 times look like at this point, because he clearly looks like he's figured something out that the others are struggling with. I am not certain of that, but look at that. He's just done in another purple sector, though he's just about 100th up, which is pretty interesting, because do we see anyone else improving? The others pretty much are exiting the pits at this point. So a new fresh set of tires, burnt fuel, we should expect some interesting lap times, and Duki Atma just picks up a penalty, so he's definitely going to bail on that lap. What do you think, Vedu? What's the best way to go about it?
Duki Atma, even on worn tires, he was starting a purple sector, so he could have some more speed, as I can see from the telemetry and all the display settings are available with me here. Meanwhile, Pagal Raja had just picked, so he has now about 3 minutes remaining, one for the out lap and one for maybe he could do around 2 push laps. So we could now see what are their real times. But yes, that Nissan is really fast, and I think that was a stellar of a lap by Duki Atma. And he's going into the pits again, so he, I think, still has one more flying lap that he can put here. So I think the times can go down even further.
So as we're entering the last stages of our qualifying at this point, and as Duki Atma enters the pits, we're going to maybe stick with Pagal Raja, who's almost a second behind, and I'm really keen, and I think he's just gone wide there. That might maybe bring him a penalty, and he is slowing down just to ensure that he doesn't pick up a penalty. But as you can see very clearly, people are fighting for the toe, and Ancient Pleb does move up. So we're going to stick with Ancient Pleb at this point, because he certainly is a fast guy, and he is probably someone who can give Duki Atma a run for his money. As Ancient Pleb's just about to start his flyer, we're going to stick with him. And let's see what does he do.
Something very curious I wanted to mention, Monk. I see Enchanted Man, he is going in reverse on the tracks, and that is definitely too dangerous. So if you just focus on Enchanted Man, I can see him going in reverse, which can be really disastrous for the pits.
I wonder why he's doing that, but he looks like he's just picking up a good exit, and he just wants to make sure that Parabolica is not compromised for him in any way. He has resumed his outlap. I'm going to be with Pleb, who at this point is being chased aggressively by Askas. So this is not going to be good for them. This is definitely going to hurt Askas as well, and I hope he doesn't go for the inside. He does think about it, but bails. This is going to hurt Askas for sure. Let's stick with Ancient Pleb. He's improved. He's done a personal best of about just 2/10 down the first sector. What are we looking at, Vedu?
You just mentioned even Pagal Raja was about 1/10 ahead of Dukhi Atma, so he is setting up purple sectors as well. So he's just exiting less more, and we could see before entering Ascari what his sector time is for sector 2. And he's
they seem too close for Ascari at this point.
Yes. He's about a 10 down now at the sector 2, so I think Dukhi Atma is still safe. It's P1.
So we're just going to stick with Pleb at this point because he's the one who's had cleaner air, and everyone else behind has struggled. As I mentioned, Aska is definitely the bigger loser in this, suffering more. And we got a glimpse of Mistogan also about to set up his flying lap, so we're going to jump on him as well. But where does this put Ancient Pleb? It seems like a decent exit off Parabolica. Is he going to beat a 147 at this point? No, he does not. In fact, he is half a second behind. And Ganesh also just improves, but barely. So clearly, no one's being able to match the pace by Dukhi Atma at this point. I'm going to quickly jump on Mistogan, who I don't see. He is on his flyer at this point. But what is going on, Vedu? This is some margin by Dukhi Atma.
Well, Dukhi Atma has his penalty coming up, so maybe he's trying to make the most out of it. And I see that he's running really fast today. It's about 0.9 of a second clear of everyone else.
Mistogan seems to be on a good lap here. He's about 5/10 up on his flyer at this point. While he's about to complete his lap, let's just look at the others quickly. We have Ganesh, who's also on a flyer at this point. We have Pleb, who's fallen quite behind. Pagal Raja is also on his flying lap. He's giving a good tow to Askas here. Now, is that going to benefit Askas? We will only find out in a few moments' time with him clearing off the second sector. So, as everyone is approaching the final sector at this point, where does this put everyone? I am really intrigued at this point, considering the margin. It's very tight between the guys at P2 and P7. In fact, even P8, but P1 is just at a whole different league altogether.
Pagal Raja goes wide and he thinks to run into them. But yes, I think Dukhi Atma is all clear. I do not see anyone improving. We had a lap from Inebri. He's also in 148. Cannot see anyone else improving.
Mistogan maybe? Are we seeing a good lap from Mistogan? Yes, he does jump to P2. We did catch that at the right moment. So good lap there. Ganesh, what does he pull off? He does not improve. We have Ancient Pleb. He does not improve as well. Pagal Raj also with the penalty. Enavari struggling at this point in chicane 1. I think everyone else. So I think our grid is pretty much sorted at this point. Brazilian Sam also does not improve. Fun Anywhere also doesn't look like he's going to improve. Dan has already done his final lap, and so has Manu. So Dukhi Atma, Super Vedu, has managed P1 with almost 7/10 up. I think this really going to play in the minds of everyone else on the grid.
Absolutely, Mo. But we need to see how the race goes today, because it's like a super dry track, as I said earlier, and Tyre is also a lot, so they need to manage their tires and consider the fuel as well. So this will be more of a strategy than going flat out today.
Interesting. I think while we have our spectators supporting Ench and the other drivers, I think it hasn't really played in the best interest of everyone, though there were interesting strategies being applied, but clearly Dukhi Atma has managed it. I have to give a shout out to Mistogan for pulling off a wonderful lap and moving up to P2 from P5 at one point. Ganesh has been a really good P3 as well, who is just 5,000ths ahead of our man in P4, which is Ancient Pleb. We have Pagal Raja in P5, we have Inabri in P6, Ench in P7, Askas in P8, Modi Guarantee in P9, Sammy in P10, Brazilian Sam in P11, Fun Anywhere in P12, Dan in P13, and Manu in P14. It still is a pretty tight grid, but it's really interesting to see what this brings in on the table. As Superway, you rightly mentioned that it's anyone's race.
Yes, I just want to let our viewers know that we have some green penalties which are coming up, and I will quickly apply those penalties. So, Monk, we can maybe go through some of the liveries maybe till I set up the grid again.
We can certainly do that, though I am not sure because we are on the menu at this point whether it will let me show you the liveries at this point. But I would like to highlight that Monza as a circuit is not an easy one at all. In fact, the fact that we have a 147 and then almost the guys from P2 to P8 between the 148s, just 5 tenths separating them. And as we can see that while the grid is being reshuffled and everyone's just gonna have their places reshuffled at this point, the fact that we had such a tight grid and then there was this gap between, I think really speaks a lot in terms of what we're looking at. I think Monza is going to be challenging. So as we say that, let's maybe try and see who it is on track. We've got Inavri on track, and as the room is being prepared, so we request our viewers to just stay with us, and we're just going to fill you in on some interesting facts while this happens. So for our viewers out here, what are your expectations? We would really like to know what your top 3 predictions are going to be like. We've had Dukiatma in P1, Mistogan in P2, and Gyanesh in P3. Is that the order that you guys expect in our top 3, or are you expecting that a completely different top 3? What would you guys really wish for? It would be interesting to know in our comments. And thank you for your feedback with regards to the technicalities. I think that has really helped us from our learnings in the past. And having said that, while you guys decide on who our top 3 will be, we have figured out the technical challenges, and thankfully this time we're not struggling with anything. So as Vedu is busy setting up the grid and ensuring that the grid penalties that our drivers incurred from the previous laps are being filled in, let's have a look at Inavri's livery as he slides all over the place. I think that's a gorgeous livery that he's got at this point. Some beautiful shades of violets and interesting greens, and this track is going to be interesting. The track evolution is going to be interesting. Track conditions are going to be interesting. So it's not going to be a straightforward race. That is something that we can assure you for sure. While we say that, is there anyone else on the grid? We've got Sammy in another GTR as well. So one other thing that I'd like to highlight is the domination of the GTRs. We're looking at almost, say, about 4 to 5 drivers, if I'm not wrong, on the GTR. We've got Misto, we've got Sammy, we've got Dukiatma, Gyanesh, Inavri. So that's almost 4 or 5 drivers on the GTR. And then I think the next car that really comes in, we've got some R8s in the mix, we've got some RCFs in the mix. So quite a wide variety of cars, and definitely people have gone for cars that really provide good top end, because even in Formula 1 we've seen that this is a circuit that works with low downforce setups, and it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, though we've got default setups in this mix over here. But it would be really interesting to see whether the GTRs are going to dominate as we saw just in Dukiatma's case, or are we going to see a different manufacturer just completely come and jump up and win this race. It's definitely an exciting race that's coming up. Stay tuned with us, and in the meantime, let me fill you on some interesting facts about Monza. I think it's been an iconic circuit. As we all know, it's the oldest F1 circuit that's been out there almost since 1922. So I think racing fever had pretty much kicked in the moment cars were manufactured. It's called the Temple of Speed, simply because of its long straights and its high-speed corners that are out there. We all know that F1 cars end up exceeding almost 350 kilometers per hour. There's been some glorious races in the past as well. Interesting fact is that there is about, this track spans about, say, 5.7 kilometers, if I'm not wrong, and there's 6 very crucial turns, but overall there's about 11 turns in this circuit. So Vedu will soon let us know as soon as we're ready to go live. While we have a look at our leader, who's just sort of getting in some quick practice laps. We all know how iconic, the corners are. We all know the cover parabolica. We've got the Lesmo corners. We've got the Retfilo Tribune. And of course, we can never ever discount the high-speed Ascari as Dukhi Atma enters the first bit of the amazing right-handers, which are the Lesmos. So there was this amazing historic banking, which honestly is a personal wish that I do hope that maybe, just maybe if not in real life, at least in games we can access the historic banking of the Monza circuit. So, and we all know that this is the home of Ferrari. So, it's interesting that maybe there's no Ferraris in this, but there's definitely the arch rivals, which is the Mercedes, who we are with at this point, which is Brazil Sam, and he's just had an oversteer moment. So I think people are getting in some quick practice runs while Vedu sets up the grid, so this does help everyone else. And it would be interesting to see if there were some Ferraris and some Tifosis cheering the Ferrari at this point, but unfortunately we don't have it. But I think some stonker races coming up, and I'm hoping for some high-speed action. I'm hoping for some interesting battles within the tour that are also going to come in. As we look at Ench, he's got a beautiful hooligan livery with the Renault. Pretty interesting car. Not sure if the fans have seen Max Verstappen and Jos Verstappen's lap in this particular car. It's amazing to see legendary racer like Jos Verstappen freaking out with the way a young Max Verstappen was driving the car around Spa, and what an intense lap that was. So do tell us in our comments as well, while you guys do predict our top 3, that who do you guys think has the best livery, as we do see Dukhi Atma with a livery that he used during our GT Sport days. Definitely brings back some amazing memories, which he used in the Supra, as he gives a bit of a nudge to in Avery at this point. So Vedu, are we ready?
Monk. How about we go racing now?
Fantastic. I think that would be great. I think the fans have been filled in with some interesting facts about Monza, and we are ready to go live with racing.
Yes. Before we start, so here's the grid order for today. We will be starting with Mr. Khan and then Ganesh, Pagal Raja and Dukhi Atma. So with their grid penalties, this is our front 2 rows. Askaz, Ancient Lab on row 3, after which we have Modiki Guarantee Sammy. Then we have Brazilian Sam and in every completing the top 10. We have then Enchanted Man with his grid penalty, Fun and Iva, Dan and Manu. So these are our 14 racers, and let us start. I will just announce in the lobby that we are starting, and we can take this ahead.
So we are ready to go racing, folks. This is going to be fun. This is going to be intense. We all know how Monza is. 5 seconds until we go live. Who do you think Vedu should we be with? Should we be with a guy in P1, or should we be with someone in the middle just to maybe catch up some RG-bargy action?
I would prefer somewhere around P3 or P4. So maybe even Askaz for P5.
Let's do that. Let's jump to the guy in P5. Let's quickly make sure that we're only getting race info at this point. Don't want to reveal any of the strategies. And we are going to be with the man in P5, which is Askaz and Sammy, and Modi Guarantee have left the room into what is going on.
Yeah, we may have to restart that.
I think there's been a technical issue, folks. I think while the racers have gone live with the race, I think Vedu will call the shots on whether we need to restart or not. Yes, and we have a restart.
I've dropped out, and I think it's fair to call a restart since we are just starting the race. I do want to apologize to the viewers, but I think this is a technical issue that can be sorted out. And let's just make sure all of our participants who have tried really hard for this particularly gets their shot. So we will have another attempt at it.
So in many races, even in the past, we've seen jump starts, we've seen faulty starts, we've seen wrong positions. So this pretty much applies to the concept over here as well. We want to make sure that it is fair for everyone, and we want to make sure that everyone gets a fair chance, for an interesting race. So while we wait for Fun Anywhere, who's just having fun and probably teasing the entire grid, but he's got a beautiful AMG there with a flat out nice looking mustard yellow colored livery. Absolutely love that shade there. So by the way,
and he's the only guy on track right now, even after announcing a restart.
So folks, as the racers get back into the grid again, we just are going to wait. This is going to take no more than another 5 minutes. It's going to be an interesting Monday night. We all know Monday nights can be boring, so we brought you some fresh entertainment for tonight. It's going to make sure that you all have a really, really good entertaining session that's going to come up. Vedu, just one question. Are we going to have another restart after this, or is this going to be the final restart?
No more restarts. So this was our last restart, and yes, out of respect for our viewers, we shall have no more restarts, and we will carry on with the race after this.
Sounds good. So while I think you may have to just check the grid once again, just to make sure that people have entered in the right order and that the grid order hasn't changed. Sometimes that tends to happen. While we wait, let's just quickly be on this man who is Mr. Mistogan. Extremely fast, extremely strategic, a bit of a mischievous fellow, but definitely someone who you can learn a lot from. Personally, I have reached out to him so many times for advice, and many a times he's really helped me out. And in fact, I must mention that Mistogan has played a very big role in helping me get a driver rating A as well. So thanks to Mistogan for that. We do have the guys quickly putting in some laps as well, just making sure. And as you see Pleb doing some really naughty things with the curbs there, just probably getting a feel of whether he can ride the curbs or no. Fast guy, naughty guy, doing some really random things. So let's see what he's trying to do out here.
Okay, Monk, I think we are all set and we can start with our race.
Superb. So no more restarts after this. I hope that there are no disconnections. This was something that we all thought we had left it during our days at GT Sport, but somehow it has come to bother us again. Interesting. We've got some predictions, Vedu, and people are predicting that we might see Dukhi Atma doing in a clean sweep today. People are also asking if we have subs. Yes, we do have subs, and the race will begin shortly. I hope there are no glitches. It seems to have been stuck. And what's happening? The T's, and okay, we are good to go. So we are gonna go back on the man who is P5, which is Askas. Look at that grid, a glorious grid, and it looks like, and I don't mean to jinx it, it looks like the grid is stuck. People are flashing their lights, but starting. Are we looking at any grid drops? No, we're not. So I think we're pretty much good to go. All 14 drivers are on the grid at this point, and we are pretty much set to go live. So where are we? We are set, and we are go. So seems clean at this point. I think even at the back, even at the front, I think Askas looks clean. He's got a decent toe. What about the others? Does anyone else have a toe? We do look at some action here. Let's stick with these guys. Modi Candy makes a jump. There is a bit of action there. Gyanesh moves up to P2. Jumps with Pagal Raja. So there is some interesting action going on here. What about at the back? Fun Anywhere has a moment as well. Brazilian Sam and Inavri just pretty much into each other. Let's hope the game doesn't glitch. So we've got some interesting material going on. What is happening up front? I think it's pretty much clean. Are we going to see any action in the chicane? I certainly hope we don't. There's some action.
Slightly wide over there. I think Duki has, Pagal Raja has a move on him, and he's going to take up P2 right now as we go into the last match.
I think the stewards are going to be busy with this one, as Gyanesh just pushed slightly wide there. Maybe some lag coming into play, and Mistogan is probably enjoying the most in all of this, as we have with Duki Atma at this point, who is having a pretty intense action. You don't want to be battling too hard in the Lesmos because it only increases the gap for the leaders. Look at that. P2, P3, P4, P5 all bunched up together.
Askas made a classic move over there on the right, and he's going wide across the carry, and he has secured that P4. And he saw Gyanesh going out of the track, unfortunately.
That was unfortunate, but what a brilliant move there. What a strong, stellar recovery there by Askas. Let's just be with him at this point as he chases Pagal Raja for P2. Is he going to bump draft him or is he going to just go for the move? I think he's going to go for the move. He thinks about it. Definitely upsets the rhythm of Pagal Raja there. I think this is going to work in his favor. Vedu, what would you do? You've got the leaders about...
Aju-baju going on as well as we see down the grid or the positions 10, 11, 9, 10, 9 to 14 are like fighting it really hard over there.
So we are with them at this point. We do see some moves. Are we going to look at some moves for P2 also? No, but look at the 5 people right at the back of the grid fighting hard. But I think they made peace and they're just going to be in each other's toe just to make sure. As Zenabri, does he think about the move? He is definitely on the inside, breaks late. Oh, Ench definitely pushes Manu wide there. That will not be good. So what are we looking at? Let's just quickly jump on the guys ahead. While that happens, we've got the guys from P2 to P6 fighting hard. Duki Atma is definitely in the sandwich there, so I think he's maybe just worked out something on the tyre front. Ancient Player has also made a decent recovery, and so has Modi Guarantee. But what is the gap? Look at that. A 3-second gap and Mistogan's pulled up on Pagal Raja. This has clearly worked out for him. What are we looking at over here, Vedu? What do you think is the best way to go about it?
Yeah, Mistogan has definitely put up a 3-second lead, but he now has 0.5 seconds of a penalty. Those penalties are definitely going to hurt because once you go through the carry and then get that penalty, it's like a huge loss that you're going to face. So, and Pagal Raja is also clean racing now, meaning he does not have any more racers in front of him. So he and Askas should work together at this instance and try to make up for that gap.
So while we look at that and we hope that they'll keep it clean, Gyanesh, who was at P2 at one point, is down all the way at P11, just having a battle with Brazilian Sam as he clears Brazilian Sam. So will Gyanesh be able to make a recovery? Let's see. I certainly hope so. Manu also dropping a lot of positions because of the incident with Ench some time back. So I'm just going to jump back on Mistogan, our leader, who despite the penalty has only lost a little bit of time as Askas has moved up to P2. So definitely missed out, but Pagal Raja is in his toe. Is Pagal Raja going to make a move? Is he going to think about it? Let's just stick with him and see, does he think about it? No, he does not. Is he going to bump him? No, keeps it clean. What about the guys behind? I think it's intense and interesting all the way. Oh, and Pagal Raja just about has a moment of oversteer there and loses another position, which works in the favor of our man who's in P3, which is Duki Atma at this point. So I think Askas is making a bit of a gain as we do see the sunset kicking in, and we're not used to Monza at night, Vedu. What do you think this is going to bring into the equation?
Well, we need to see how the tyre wear is affected now, because we know it's like 8x, so it's definitely a lot. But maybe we could go to mediums once the sunset sets in. I don't know, like for now everyone is on hards and no one is going with mediums, so maybe some strategy could be in play later on. Just for the viewers, the weather was not announced to them before the race. They are just saying it for the first time today during the race.
Interesting. So we've got a battle brewing up here between 9, 10th and 11th. Let's just stick with them at this point. Look at that. Navary Gyanesh is recovering. He is definitely on his way back, charging up the grid, and Navary goes wide. Now, is this going to affect Gyanesh? He's trying. Oh, a little bit of action going on. I think gives a bit of a bump to Navary, suggesting that, bro, please move ahead. We need to catch the guys ahead. So let's just keep it clean. Let's work together. I think that would be the best way to go about it, which would be to work together rather than really get involved in battles of fun anywhere. Thinks about going inside into Parabolica but backs out. So good clean racing. What about the guys at the back? What are we looking at? Brazilian Sam and Manu battling hard. Is Manu going to go dive down the inside? He does. Good move there by Manu as well. So action all around the circuit at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I heard last race after.
Vedu, I'm cutting you. I'm so sorry. Askas has had a big moment. He was at P2 and he just got stuck at the chicane and he's dropped down to P5. Look at who is now up in P2, despite being 4 seconds behind. Duki Atma is back up in P2. So from the grid penalty, I think has just worked out in his favor because of the other people making mistakes. What do you think is going to happen now?
That was pretty impressive by Duki Atma. So he has made up all those places. It's now P2 and he's catching Mr. Gun, and from the telemetry also it seems Duki Atma is better on fuel right now, so we could maybe see a battle brewing up between these two guys. Unfortunate for Askas, but he's close and he's closer to being followed by Ancient Lab, so I think there is a battle brewing up between them. We also see Modiki Guarantee he made a mistake and let Sammy off through. So yeah, there are battles happening all around the track right now.
Interesting, really interesting. I think Askas has just sort of recovered back. You don't want to have dirty tires over here because it really compromises with your overdrive. So let's quickly go to the grid at this point. We got Mistogen up in P1, who's about 2.8 seconds in front of, and he's actually losing a little bit of time there to Duki Atma, who's about 2.3 seconds ahead of Pagal Raja. So you got two GTRs and an RCF, and Duki Atma jumps into the pits there. So I think he's just cleared off his hards in this 24-lap race despite gaining a good amount of ground. What do you make of the strategy, Vedu?
So that's quite impressive right now, because so now we can at least figure out his strategy. So he's doing hards and now I think 2 streams of medium. Remaining the rest all of our 13 racers are still on hards. So maybe he's trying to pull an undercut on Misto. So I guess that would be good for now. Maybe he's trying to assume that there would be less wear. So let's see how those mediums pulled up, because even I do not know for real if those mediums are good enough.
So Duki Atma with that pit stop moves down to P14, but look at that, he is just 27.8 seconds behind the leader. So what kind of lap times are we looking at Mistogen? Is he going to pull the trigger as well? Is he going to respond to Duki Atma's pit stop? How strong is the undercut over here, Vedu?
So the hards, I guess, it obviously comes down to the lap times right now. So Misto is doing around 150s, and would he be going on those hards? I don't think it's a bad idea to keep those hards for a while, but we shall see what time Duki Atma starts up on the mediums. Would this work? It's too early to tell, because it depends on their strategies, which I'm not sure about. But if Mr. jumps now in the pits, I think he's going to lose out to Duki Atma.
Mistogen stays out, as you say that, Vedu. Does anyone else respond? No one's responding at this point. What does this do to Duki Atma? Duki Atma is within the tow, but he is behind Dan. Now, will he be able to clear Dan? He is going to think about it. He decides to make a lunge, but Dan shuts the door on him. So, is he going to get a good switch back over here? He might just get a good exit, and he makes the move. I think it's safer for Dan to just be in his tow, because clearly Duki Atma is a faster guy out here, and he's still just about 27.5 seconds, so he's not really gaining at the way maybe we were expecting him to gain. So even in clean air, we're not seeing a big difference out here. He is still 5 seconds behind Brazilian Sam, and in fact is sort of just gaining, but is it significant? Okay, yes, it is slightly significant.
Yeah. So teammates, I just want to inform the viewers that the Brazilian Sam and Duki Atma, they are part of the Rainbow Mount Racing. Brazilian Sam was doing quite good in the last race. I guess he was around P5 or P6. Today it's P12, but it would be nice to see if they could work together and help Duki Atma, gain some more places.
So I'm going to be here with Sammy at this point, as he is getting a lovely front seat action between Pleb and Askas. As Pleb does think about it, is he going to go down the inside? He does brake late onto Ascari. Is he going to push him wide? No, he does not. Keeps it clean. Is Sammy going to be able to take advantage as we look at any action behind? No action behind, but Pleb's going to serve his penalty as well. So what does this do to Pleb? I sense some action taking place here. This is going to give both these guys a double jump, and Sammy thinks about the move as well. Is he going to jump down the inside? He does. So he is going down the inside. Oh, Modiki Guarantee also thought about a move there, but keeps it clean. So we've got action happening all the way. Now, is anyone else jumping into the pits? Sammy? No, he stays out. Aska stays out as he gets a bit of a toe.
Jumps into the pits.
Enchanted Mind is still... Look at that. We've got action brewing up all over. Modi Guarantee thinking about going from the outside. Might want to capture the inside. This is like a Lewis versus Max. And what a beautiful move there by Modi Guarantee right there on Ancient Pleb. Ancient Pleb losing almost 3 positions because of that penalty as Modi Guarantee makes the jump up. Ancient Pleb is trying to fight back over here. Now, is he going to think about diving down the inside as Modi Guarantee didn't really get the exit that he was hoping for? Onto the chicane, so he is a little vulnerable, and we all know Pleb is good with brakes, but Pleb decides the better of it and stays behind as Gyanish has recovered from P12 to P7. What's happened here? Askaz has slowed down again. Askaz is still fighting.
Had a bit of a momentum over there, and I think he lost that place to Modi Guarantee, but they are in the same team after all, so I think it's working fine for Vita Racing Team, which is Mercurial Caesar or Modi Guarantee and Askaz.
So as I scroll to the grid behind, despite teammates making sure that they're not battling hard with each other, I think we've got Manu here in P9, followed by Brazilian Sam in P10. Duki Atma is still 24.9 seconds, so he is gaining ground now. I think the tires are coming to life, and I think maybe Mistogen's tires are sort of giving away now, as he is still putting in consistent lap times in the non-50s.
But this is really interesting to watch right now, Monk. Mr. Gunn is running low on fuel, and he may have to come in pit soon. Pagar Raja is making a hell of a job with his fuel right now, and that would be really interesting in the end or in the midway through in this race. We saw Ganesh jumping in the pits right now. But what about Sammy? He just joined the league today. He was listening to the bench, but for the Mavericks. And he's right now in P3.
Really interesting. I think Sammy is showing some really good talent out here. He is managing late 150s with his lap times, and I think as we can't see the telemetry data, so maybe you can fill us in with his fuel wear and tire wear, but I think it's not a bad position to be in. As you mentioned, Vedu, considering that this is his first race with our league, so a P3 at this point is solid. And let's see what his race outcome is going to be like, as he is managing the race pretty well from the looks of it.
Absolutely. So he's being followed by Modi Guarantee. Fuel-wise, he's doing a better job than Modi Guarantee because they are about at the same levels of fuel. Ancient Pleb has better fuel than all of them, even Askaz. I guess we could see them coming into the pits in about 2 laps. But then we can now see there are different strategies. So some guys are obviously fuel saving. For example, Pagar Raja, he can go a bit more longer. Mr. will have to come in the pits. And Duki Atma, that strategy came out of nowhere. So he did 4 laps on hards. That puts him in a situation where he will have to do at least 10 laps on mediums.
And I would like to break you here, Vedu. Mistogen does not jump into the pits. Mistogen decides the better of it and stays out. Good move, bad move, you decide.
I have no idea. This is quite interesting because now the strategies are evolving all around the track. So it could be I don't know, maybe at lap 15 we could see someone jumping into the pits, or the strategy is evolving, but it's completely out of the blue right now.
So everyone gets into the pits, and the guys are battling it out as Ench makes a move and moves up to P12, but is under solid attack from Menabri, who goes right onto the curbs there. Is that going to bring in a penalty? We will only find out in a moment's time. But some interesting action brewing up between these guys, really good friends. They're into close racing themselves as Navri and Ench get the jump. Now is Navri going to make a move down the outside? What's going to happen over here? Yes, he does. Ench decides that it's best to let Navri through here. So keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, as Brazilian Sam decides to jump onto the mediums at this point. So we've got another tight bit of action brewing up over here. So we've got Pleb in P6.
Just to interrupt the monk, Duki Atma makes a move on fun anywhere, and he gets P7 now. And he's closely following Ancient Pleb for P6. So
and we've got a battle here between Askaz and Modi Guarantee. Is Askaz going to go jump down the inside on Ascari? No, he decides to stay up, but there's a lot of bumping going on between them.
There are no team orders at play, I guess. it would have been wise to work together and get that position from Sammy, but I don't know why they are fighting right now. So it's too early in the race to fight them.
Another surprise, Mistogan decides to stay out again. So while he is doing that, Duki Atma, who made the first set of pit stops, is now only 21.4 seconds and is gaining rapidly. He is gaining so rapidly that he is well within under attacking range and will jump the grid. As we can see, everyone else is pitting at this point. So Moni Guarantee with only 11% fuel as Duki Atma puts in a fastest lap of 148.2. Fun Anywhere with 2%. Now this is interesting. I think Mistogan's definitely got, maybe he's planning a one stopper at this point from the looks of it, Vedu.
But then will the field last? I guess 10 laps or maybe 12 laps, but this would be 14 laps that we will have to so I think it will be difficult. I would expect another stop, but yes, he's going on hard. So let's see if he can make up for about 14 laps on this.
Interesting. Sammy stays in P3. Pagal Raja is almost 10 seconds behind. So Pagal Raja, I think, is very clearly conserving fuel at this point. No one looks like they're really in the mood to attack. Are we looking at any other form of battles here? I do see one bit of action between Enchen and Navary. Again, they are keeping it close, and I think they also realize that it's best to not battle, as Gyanesh is back in P10 with them. Now, will Gyanesh choose to be wise here, as a bit of a moment there for Navary and Ench overtakes? Now, is Gyanesh going to make the move over here as well? It does look like it. He thinks about going down the inside, but keeps it clean as he pushes Navary a little wide. This is going to compromise Navary's tires as well. So action all around, yet there's still a lot of action going around. Vedu, how would you sort of deal with these things? This seems really interesting. It's tough for me to keep track with the drivers as our leader pits.
Yeah, Mr. Gunn is in pit now. He was about, his tires are nearly done and he was very low on fuel. Makes sense. I think even Sammy is going to enter pits now. But yes, action all around the track, Monk, and this is I got a complaint last race, to be honest, that you are not focusing on us, but it is like really difficult. We saw it in all of our last races, like there is like action continuously throughout the track with different strategies and different racing going on everywhere. So yes, I can understand. It's really difficult to follow all the battles.
So as our guys battle it out and we try to do all the justice to all the races over here, Dan is now under hardcore attack from Ench, and Ench will make the move on him as well as he moves up to P5. So Ench is on a strong recovery run as well. As Pagal Raja now takes the lead from Duki Atma, Mistogan is only down in P4. Now, where is Mistogan in the mix of things? Mistogan is only 21 seconds. So, has Mistogan maybe not refueled completely here, Vedu? What are we looking at?
Yes, he has gone about 60-70%. He has refueled about 60-70%. And he is 21 seconds behind our leader. So, I guess it would be around 15 seconds behind Duki Atma. So both of them, they need to pit again. But
and just as I say that, I'm so sorry for interrupting your Vedu, but Dan Lord has just lost almost 3 positions in a span of 3 corners there. So he clearly seems like he is saving a lot of fuel, or maybe he has he run out of fuel here? Because he seems extremely slow here, as he maybe pushed maybe 1 lap too many, and now that has really compromised his race here.
He is running on fumes, I can tell you that from the telemetry here. And he definitely needs to pit as soon as possible. So he tried to push that McLaren as far as possible. But yes, I saw a battle between Navary and Ganesh. I think Ganesh gets that position. Chartered man is P5. I just want to let everyone know here that we have tweaked the rules slightly. So we will be more strict with push to pass. So, and the penalties would be a timed penalty, which would be added at the end of the race. What do you think about this, Monk? Grid penalties or time penalties? What makes more sense?
I would go with time penalties any day, because I think it's pretty unfair that you make a push and then you pass, and then your race result isn't compromised for one person, but the guy who's just sort of maybe been a little naughty ends up getting the better of it and then maybe takes a grid penalty. So I can always maybe work it to my favor and be a little naughty if I choose to be. So yeah, I think time penalties would be my suggestion. What's your take?
Yeah, after a couple of discussions with our drivers, we decided that this would be the way forward, and starting today, updating our viewers that starting today, all the time penalties will be added at the end of the race. So there will be no carry forward, and maybe we will go away from the grid penalties that people are pushing over to the next race.
Oh, as we just have a talk, Modi Gr3 just sort of makes a pretty interesting move there on Dan, and Dan is just going down the grid. He's just tumbling down the order, as everyone is now on a hardcore recovery drive at this point. So everyone's trying to jump up. And let's have a look at Modi Gr3, who has made the jump on Askas. Askas is closely trailing him behind, as Ancient Pleb also jumps into the pits. Now, all these guys who put in before definitely look like they will be making a decent undercut here. What do you think is going to happen here, Vedu? We've still not seen our leader jump into the pits, as Mistogan moves up to P3 as well. So it's clearly anyone's race at this point.
Absolutely, Monk. So I have no idea for now. We just saw three strategies. We saw Pagar Raja saving fuel, Dukhi Atma going mediums on after lap 4, Mistogan pit around somewhere around lap 10, so he may have to pit again. And Ancient Pleb over here, and also Dan Lord, they have picked up after the halfway mark, so they will be it will be racing hard for them till the end of the race. So there are like 4 strategies that we are seeing right now. So I have no idea what's going to happen as we approach the end of the race.
So while we consider and contemplate on strategies at this point, are we looking at any other action at this point? As Sammy, who at one point was P3, is down at P9. Ancient Pleb has moved down all the way to P10 after his pit stop. So let's see what does he do. But I don't think the NSX is the best car at this point, or maybe he has got something up or down. Sorry, what am I saying? He's maybe gonna pull out something from his magician's hat, because he is a master of this particular game altogether. So we have Brazilian Sam in P11, Fun Anywhere in P12, Manu in P13. Dan is still stretching it in P14, almost.
We have someone go wide. I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, look at that. Askas was on a tremendous recovery drive. Unfortunately, we missed it. As Pagal Raja finally enters the pits and Dukhi Atma takes the lead, as Askas picks up a 1.5 second penalty. I don't really know what happened now. Is this going to trigger some frustration for Askas? Is he going to make an aggressive move on Brazilian Sam? I think he would want to clear Brazilian Sam soon, but Brazilian Sam stays ahead and will maintain P10 here. So the grid is slowly spreading out now, Vedu. I don't really see a lot of battles. It seems like we will soon maybe get an indication.
I want to bring your attention towards this battle, Monk, for P3 and P4. Ganesh takes a place on Enchanted Man, and he's now in P3 even after having that position. And there is a battle brewing up between these two guys, Ganesh and Enchanted Man.
Thank you for pointing that out, Vedu, as we are with them at this point, and we both know Ganesh finally makes a strong recovery. Who was really down at P12 at one point after that initial incident, has made a good recovery. He'll be happy about that, but I think he is due a pit stop soon, considering the way he's been driving, and I'm sure his tires will not really be in the best condition. And likewise with Ench as well, who is really sliding all over the place. So considering how how high the deg is in terms of both fuel and tires, this is going to hurt them.
Yeah, but I don't know why they are battling now. They should be working together. They are from the same team, so just in letting the viewers know, Ganesh and Uncharted Men, they are from the main race. They scored some good points even last race, and it is done in the audio over there with the Renault.
Interesting bit. So while this is happening, does Dukhi Atma enter the pits? I was just about to ask that as Dukhi Atma enters the pits. Now Mistogan's just 10 seconds behind. Look at that. He is going to have a massive lead on Dukhi Atma here. Where does this put Mistogan? Is it going to be strong enough for him to maybe take the race all the way? Because this does look like it's going to be a huge lead here, Vedu.
Yeah, and that puts Dukhyatma in quite a difficult situation. He probably will be going medium, and he has to do around how much, like 9, 10 laps, which he was not able to do in this previous range of his. So will he be able to get P1 or someone else? Maybe Ganesh, because even Mesto has to P3. So this can still evolve.
This can still evolve, and we can see some really interesting results in the mix here. So what does our order look like? I'm going to take our viewers to the order. We have Mistogan, who's got a hefty lead of about 17.5 seconds on Gyanesh at this point, who is having a decent battle with Ench, and Ench is closely following behind him in P3. Then we've got Inavri and Pagal Raja in P4 and P5. Pagal Raja will soon want to recover all these positions again because he was running P2 at one point. We've got Dukhyatma in P6, who's about 28.5 seconds behind the leader, and looks like he is now going to be on a complete charge. Now, will he be able to take his tires all the way? Maybe, maybe not, because he pit on lap 4 and then he pit on lap 15. So this is going to be interesting as we find out. Then we've got Modi Ganti in P7, who was about 3.2 seconds and about a second ahead of Sammy in P8. Ancient Pleb is down all the way in P9 and he's going to serve a 1 second penalty as well. So clearly Ancient Pleb's not having the best race as we would be expecting. And we've got Fun Anywhere in P10, who might just get the jump on Ancient Pleb at this point. Brazilian Sam in P11, who is closely followed by Askas, who is just not having the best time. And we've got Manu in P13 and Dan. I hope he has pit. It does look like he's pit in P14. So are we looking at any battles here?
Yeah, Inavri just made a pass on Pagal Raja, but they are from the same team and he's jumping into the pits now. So Pagal Raja has moved into the second place. We have Ganesh and Enchanted Men and Inavri all jumping in the pits. Dukhyatma moves to P3 now. And this could really work out in Pagal Raja's way now, because he is about 23 seconds clear of Misto, and probably he can go till the end of the race.
Now, what do we expect? Misto's pit, pretty much within the same range as Pagal Raja at this point. I think, if I'm not wrong, Misto pit in earlier. So this could work. Now let's see. And we all know the RCF is reasonably good on its fuel wear. It's a relatively easier car to drive as compared to the GTR, which can be a bit of a fuel guzzler as well. Then we got Dukhyatma, who's still about 28.7 seconds with a 1 second penalty. So it seems like at this point we've got maybe some sort of a grid that's settling in terms of positions. We've got Motin Guarantee, who's moved up to P4, which is pretty good by his standards. And then we've got Sammy in P5. So the grid is still shuffling all over. Look at that, Ancient Plebs dropped down to P7. And we've got Fun Anywhere in P6. I do believe that these are still not the final positions, as many of these guys are yet to make the stop. So any action that we're seeing at this point, let's stick with
maybe I guess Fun Anywhere and Ancient Pleb are working together. They are the Pleb and running 6 and 7. I wonder if they're working together today.
I think that is what they would ideally want to do. Maybe just sort of bump each other, save fuel in the process, and just sort of maybe stretch the stint as much as they can. It does look like there's a bit of a battle brewing up over here. No. So as I mentioned, the grid does look like it's spreading out, and maybe now it's just going to come down to what kind of strategies people bring into the mix. So we're just going to be with Pleb and Fun Anywhere. What is it that we're going to see out here? Does Fun Anywhere look like he's entering the pits? Yes, he does. So let's just be with Pleb at this point as Fun Anywhere heads for his pit stop. 23% fuel, so maybe might save a little bit of time on fuel saving. Let's be with Askas at this point. Does Askas maybe think of making a move soon, because he definitely looks a lot more faster as compared to Pleb. Thinks about going down the inside and stays ahead.
Misto is going to jump into the pits soon, and we could see a shuffle of positions over there as we head into the final part of the race, because he's literally running on fumes right now. But what about Modi Guarantee? He started around P11, P12 somewhere, and he's right now in P4. It would be interesting to see if we can finish the race. He has about 40% fuel remaining. So let's see.
40% of fuel remaining for almost 2/3 of the race that's completed, and we're in the final
Sami
finish.
pass on him. He goes P4.
Just missed that, but pretty much trying to capture the action. So is Mistogan going to jump in the pits? Yes, he does. So 23 seconds lead. Is Pagal Raja going to be able to make the jump as he is just about to approach Parabolic at this point? What are we going to see out here? What are the fuel levels that we can expect out of Mistogan? We'll only find out in a moment's time as Pagal Raja exits the Parabolica. I think the 23-second lead is good enough for someone like Mistogan as Pagal Raja makes the jump. Now, how much is Mistogan fit in? So the fuel rate slightly slower there as Pagal Raja takes the lead from Mistogan. Where is Dukhi Atma at this point? Will Dukhi Atma get the jump as Mistogan is just about exiting and we see Dukhi Atma jumping in. So I think Mistogan want to go flat out at this point to maybe attack these guys and try and reclaim that lead as Sami is just about 3 seconds.
Yeah, but the interesting part now, Monk, is they are on similar fuel levels with Pagal Raja running a bit low on fuel, but I think that should be enough to cover the race. Tyre wear, I guess Dukhi Atma has a bit of a wear, around 10-15%, but I think those tyres should last because he's taking really good care of those tyres. So there would be a three-way battle that I can see.
I do expect Mistogan to really give them a fight because I think he's picked up something and he knows the best way is to be aggressive. 9.5 seconds with about 7 laps to go. I think that is achievable, but let's see if he makes any recoveries because he does look like he is gaining on them and he is gaining on them rapidly. Look at that gap drop. It was 9.5 seconds. It's come down to about 9.2 seconds at this point to do. So while the top 3 get closer and closer, let's just see what our grid looks like after the recent set of pit stops. We've got Sami in P4, Askas moves up to P5, we've got Pleb in P6, Ganesh in P7, we've got Ench in P8 who's going to serve as 1 second penalty, Navi in P9, Modi Guarantee moves down to P10. We were just praising about his recovery because of his pit stop. Fun Anywhere in P11, President Sam in P12, Dan in P13 and Manu drops down to P14. So let's see, Pagal Raja is now just 4.7 seconds ahead of Dukhi Atma, so even that lead is slowly coming down. But interestingly, Vedu, the gap between Dukhi Atma and Mistogan has just jumped to 4 seconds.
Yeah, I guess Dukhi Atma is now pushing. He knows he's under stretch and he's pushing. So we have 5 laps remaining. Pagal Raja also set up a 149.8. So I guess he's still trying to save his tyres because they have 5 laps remaining and these tyres should last. Whereas Misto can push till the end of the race. We saw Sami jumping into the pits now, but I guess the lead between Pagal Raja and Misto is about 8. So I guess he gained a second on them last lap. So we need to see how he can manage it. A second, he needs to gain about 2 seconds, more than a second per lap to win the race.
As you say that, Vedu, one interesting fact, Pagal Raja has almost lost a second within just 2/3 of this particular lap. So while Dukhi Atma is pushing, Pagal Raja definitely knows he needs to be a little conservative, and we all know that as the track temperatures drop because it's almost sunset over here, I wonder whether this is going to really affect our fuel, whereas Pagal Raja has a bit of an oversteer moment right there. Look at that, he's lost a big chunk of time there. Dukhi Atma is going to sniff that. Are we going to see a repeat of what we saw at Spa last instance with our race where it went down to the wire? But with 5 laps to go, I think this is going to be really, really tough because Mistogan, look at that, who was 10 seconds behind, is now just 6 seconds behind. So Mistogan is going to know that he's got a good shot here at a potential P1. Dukhi Atma is just 2.4 seconds behind now. So Dukhi Atma is clearly on the chase. 149.0 for Dukhi Atma versus a 151.3 if I'm not wrong. So that is a solid 2 seconds that Dukhi Atma has gained on Pagal Raja. And what about Mistogan? Mistogan pulls off a 148.5, just about 6 tenths away from the fastest lap. As Askas also moves into the pits and that pushes Pleb up to P4 and Ganesh to P5. I'm looking at any quick battles. I do see some battles brewing up here at the back between Fun Anywhere and Brazilian Sam, who are working close. So both the AMGs are now together. but no other battles brewing up apart from our top three, who look like they're gonna have a battle coming up really soon. So Vedu, what do you think is gonna happen?
So Duki Atma is trying to maintain that lead over there. I think Pagal Raja Junior made a mistake getting out or exiting Askari. So now he also has a second penalty and he is stressed out. He's under pressure. We can see that. So Duki Atma is going to make the jump. We could see a battle between Misto and Duki Atma because he gained, yes, Misto can gain, but not a lot on Duki Atma. So he's still about 0.5 seconds, I guess, that he made up on Duki. But interestingly, Ancient Pleb is on now P4 and Ganesh, they could be heading up for a battle soon because Ganesh is like about 2 seconds behind Ancient Pleb.
As I interrupted, Duki Atma has just taken the lead from Pagal Raja onto the exit of Parabolica, Vedu. And Pagal Raja is now going to be in close chase. He will want that toe. He will want to make sure that Duki Atma does not go beyond slipstream range at this point. What are we looking at over here? Are we looking at a battle brewing up as Duki Atma tries to break the toe, keeps it clean with just a one swing, and I think the Tyre is definitely working. Will Pagal Raja make a lunge? He thinks about it, but chooses to stay behind him. I think it would be wise on Pagal Raja's end. And Duki Atma just has a moment. Duki Atma with that moment gives the lead back to Pagal Raja, but all this does is only works in the favor of Mistogen because he's going to be like, I can reel both these guys in. Pagal Raja and Duki Atma go for it. Duki Atma is going to make the move down the inside. They're going to keep it aggressive, but look at that lead drop and they're battling. Oh, there's another moment there. Pagal Raja thinks about it, but he loses out. And look at that, he's lost so much time. He's lost a second there in that process. And this toppy battle is just blowing up into a whole different thing. Pagal Raja is gonna push all the way just to make sure that he's not under complete attack from Mistogen, but he is so much more vulnerable now to Mistogen than Duki Atma is to Pagal Raja at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, Monk. And I guess we will need to check that after the race what happened for the lag point of Pagal Raja running wide over there. What I do want to mention is Pagal Raja's tires are like really worn out. I don't know if he's planning of jumping into the pits, but if he does, that could work out in Ganesh's favor because he has now took a jump on Ancient Pleb and is now into P4. So we may see Pagal Raja jumping into the pits. That's a big may, but yeah.
As you do see a little bit of lag there, but Pagal Raja is still holding that 1 second. Does he think about going to the pits? No, he does not. Still about 1.1 second behind Duki Atma at this point, and Mistogen is well within that slipstream range, that crucial slipstream range where you can start reeling in Mistogen. Pagal Raja there. I apologize for that, folks, as we quickly stay with Gyanesh, who's in P4, about 23 seconds behind, with Pleb in P5, Engine and Avery, friends, but rivals on track in P6 and P7. Let's just stick with these guys and look at that. Mistogen has got so much more closer. Will Mistogen think about jumping as he flashes the lights? He's very much informed Pagal Raja that bro, I'm here, so let's keep it clean, let's not battle too hard. Thinks about making the move there, but decides to just stay out of it. So we're just going to stick with these people here because I'm quite certain that move for P2 is not far away. How far is Pagal Raja? He's about 1.3 seconds. Mistogen, if he wants to win this race, will have to clear Pagal Raja really soon. But we all know Pagal Raja and he goes wide, and look at that dirty air definitely playing its role as we go into the cockpit view. I was hoping for some action, so that's I think gonna hurt, and Pagal Raja can maybe breathe easier. So any other action at this point? We're in Engine P6 and Avery in P7, Sammy in P8, Modi Guarantee in a lonely P9, Askas is down in P10 as Modi Guarantee has a penalty that is to serve as well. Then we have got President Sam in P11, he only made the jump on Fun Anywhere, who was on P12, Dan in P13, and Manu in P14. So Duki Atma is now increasing that lead. I think he's definitely pulled the trigger and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to make a dash for it now. And Pagal Raja is still fighting hard. He is definitely still fighting hard and trying to do that. So 2.5 seconds, way to 2 laps to go. Are we expecting a battle?
I think the move that Mr. was planning, the way he went wide over there, I think that probably cost him the race. But Vagal Raja's tires are at like 10%, like maybe 15%. His front left has completely worn out, and he still has to finish 2 laps on this. I think Dukhi Atma is pushing. His tires are still okay for 2 laps. He should be able to make it, but Vagal Raja, I think he's going to be on this lap if he does not take care of his tires.
It is not going to be easy for Pagal Raja, but it's just about almost 8 kilometers that he needs to manage. Now, is he losing time? He is not really losing substantial time here. He's still about maintaining that 2.5 second gap. It's just as I say that, it's come down to 2.3. So Verstappen's definitely on the charge there, but he himself, as he's just on the background, just going a little wide on Lesmo too. So look at that, here, he's just had a moment there. Oh, just about corrects it. So I think I think Verstappen will realize it's best to stay out of it now, and there's no point attacking because clearly the car's not giving him the traction that he's looking for. So are we looking at a top 3 now? Interestingly, stellar drive, I must say, by Dukhi Atma there. I think the 2-stopper working out brilliantly for him. At one point he was down all the way at P14 to maybe recover and all the way move back up to P1, and he's just about to exit Parabolica and start the final lap of this race. What do you have to say about this video?
But it's just not about his strategy, but I guess everyone's strategy. So Dukhi Atma with his strategy, pitting on lap 4, Pagal Raja saving fuel, and he's still managing P2. And even Mr. with his different strategy. Even Ganesh, to mention, he is now on P4. So even after dropping so early in the race, he has managed to regain all these places back. So everyone has raced really smartly today. All the different strategies are played and everything is working as well. And even for the last race, we are still seeing a close battle happening between all of these guys. And everyone is like running on fumes right now. So they have about 1 lap of fuel remaining. Just I want to even ask our viewers what they felt about this race today. Because for me, this was definitely exciting.
So while that happens, look at that, as Askaz and Muruganti go for the final move. Is Askaz going to think about it? I think he does. He definitely goes down the inside. Muruganti does not fight him hard here. Thinks about braking late, but chooses not to. But I think he's going for the switchback here. Will he get a successful switchback? I don't think so. I think Askaz just maybe shuts the door on him now. I don't know whether Muruganti will like that. It was a little naughty. But let's quickly jump with our leader here, who is about to enter Ascari. He's got about 4.5 seconds. And look at this.
I need to interrupt you. Mr. Gunn is making a move on Pagal Raja.
And Mr. Gunn goes wide. Oh, Mr. Gunn goes wide there. I just caught that, Vedu. And I don't know what happened there. But definitely I think the stewards are going to get a lot of reports coming. I think Pagal Raja's tires are completely short and dead. And he is just struggling for out and out traction here. As let's stay with Dukhi Atma here, as he's about to enter the exit.
He can pull up a move on Pagal Raja. His tires are completely dead.
What about Dukhi Atma? He ends up winning. Will Pagal Raja be able to hold P2 here? He just manages to hold P2, which is 3 times, as Mr. Gunn comes into P3. As stellar drive there by Ganesh, as Vedu rightly was giving him all the credits here. Stellar drive by Ganesh, who's had a completely topsy-turvy race here. Moves up and stays at P4. He will be happy with that result.
Monk, there is a battle between Inevri and Ancient Clev as well, and I guess Inevri makes the jump on Ancient Clev for
Ench. Let me correct you, that's Ench. Ench, as they come into 6, 7, 8. Askaz moves to P9, closely followed by Muruganti in P10, who is not happy with Askaz at all. As Brazilian Sam just about comes in to finish the race at P11, and further 8.5 seconds behind, as Fun Anywhere is about to exit Parabolica. He's down at P12. We'll have to wait for a little while for Dan.
We have a battle between Dan and Manu.
What's happening here? Will Manu be able to catch him? Let's just be here with Manu. Let's enjoy the cockpit view, or maybe third person view at this point. I don't think, is Manu going to think about making a late lunge? I think it's too far to do that. Is he going to be able to upset? Oh, look at that, what a brilliant move there. What a sensational move there. He put all the pressure and will take the final bragging rights. Manu gets P13 and then gets P14. That was simply exciting, Vedu. That was an amazing race, and I have to give it to our champ here, Dukhi Atma, in that amazing race. 3 positions gained by him. Congratulations to him. What do you make of this, Vedu?
Amazing race, Monk. And I think this has been our best race so far in this Super Wild Gr3 Cup. A lot of strategies at play, just like our last races, and we saw our top 3 like shifting, shuffling. But yes, an exciting end of the race.
Absolutely, there was a wonderful battle there between the guys, the top 3. A lot of battles that we covered in this race. Final results look like Dukhi Atma, who secures P1, strong P1 with a very strong quali performance with Pagal Raja in P2. And we have Mistogen, who also takes the fastest lap in P3. Gyanesh in P4, Ancient Pleb in P5, Navary in P6, Ench in P7, Sammy in P8, followed by Askas in P9, Modi Guarantee in P10, Bhajan and Sam in P11, Fun Anywhere in P12, Manu in P13, and Dan in P14. So a shout out to the guys there who called it, who said that Dukhi Atma is going to have a clean sweep. Maybe not a complete clean sweep, but definitely a dominant performance there by him. And definitely a shout out to Gyanesh, who would be my driver of the day, considering his recovery. At one point he was right at the back and he's moved up to P4. So who would your driver of the day be, Vedu?
Absolutely, Ganesh. Meaning, even after Monza is a difficult track. Once you lose places, then it's really difficult to make it up as well. But I guess he worked really smartly with the slip and getting P4. That's really decent. And also shout out to Sammy, because I think he has put up a quite a performance today. He was running P3 once and he finished P8. But not to forget, we do have our penalties coming up, so we could see some shifting and shuffling here and there.
So now, while our racers were in action, it is time for our stewards to get in action. And having said that, I would like to thank our viewers for sticking with us till the entire race on a Monday night. And I wish you all a wonderful Tuesday and a wonderful week ahead. Stay tuned, and as we've got a really interesting round 4 coming up. That is going to be Austin, if I'm not wrong, correct?
No, we are now heading to Germany for the Nürburgring.
Oh yes, we will be at Nürburgring, folks. So stay tuned. We will be back live in another 3 days' time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Vedu, for giving me the chance to commentate on this lovely race. I hope you had fun. I hope the viewers had fun. Any last words, Vedu?
No, thank you, Monk. Pleasure to having this commentary session with you. And thanks for the viewers as well. And we see you soon in 3 days.
See you, everyone. Good night. Thank you for tuning in. Do like and subscribe, and do share some comments on how you felt the race was. See you all. Bye-bye.